with and whatnot?
I would probably say Ohio State. I got some good friends out in Ohio, and I know that they party. That's a pretty crazy party spot. Also, I've heard interesting things about Oregon as well, but I would lean with Ohio State. They seem to have there's a reputation with Ohio State with some of the stories I've heard, not just with football players, but just students there in general. So, yeah, that's where I'd put my money on in that. If there was a line, a prop for that, I would go with the Buckeyes.
Yeah, and they've had guys like David Boston go through there. There's some troublemakers that have gone through there at times.
Oh yeah, Maurice Claret. Although that was a different kind of trouble, but the same gist. I mean, it's not they don't have a whole lot of clean cut. You look at Marcus Mariota. This guy's, he's primed for the Wheaties box. You're not going to hear any crazy stories with him that you heard about with the Jameis Winston and every other guys of the world that we've heard about getting in trouble throughout the entire season. This guy's straight laced as they call him. So, but you never know. I mean, hey, they're young kids. Everybody's got a little fun. So, there's nothing wrong with that.
What's the toughest part of betting on bowl games?
Well, one, I mean, when you look at bowl games, like I said, the bowl games that's already passed, the biggest thing to look for is team's motivation. TCU was a great example. That team played pissed off over the fact that they were snubbed from the playoffs. They took out all their frustration, all their emotion on an Ole Miss team who already knew they weren't going to go to the playoff with about 3-4 weeks before that, before the season ended. Once they lost that game to Auburn, it was pretty much done for them. So, you got to look at that's the huge motivational factors in bowl games. Now, that goes out of the window when you start talking about with this playoff and the national championship. Both teams are equally motivated. You don't have to worry about that angle there. But also looking at the fact that looking at true numbers as opposed to, you have to realize that the line is weighed based on how much money is being taken in on each side. So you got to look at the true numbers and true facts to really figure out why a line is a certain way. I mean, it goes with any game, but even more so because there's going to be more money put on these bowl games and a title game like this.
It seems like, well, before we get back to the title game, it feels like to me it would be smarter to bet by the half in bowl games because, I mean, looking at Baylor, I mean, they show up one half, they don't show up the next. Mm-hmm. And in whatever the hell bowl game they were in against Michigan State, but it just feels like you're playing with fire betting the entire game, just because you never know what you're going to get after a 20-day layoff, 10-15-day layoff with these college kids. Sometimes motivation is there, sometimes it's the anger turns into. And once you see that in the first half, then you can make a bet on the second half. So betting by the half, I feel like, would be the smarter move in the bowl games.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, that and you brought up a good point too with the different days, the layoffs. We were talking about it with the title game about how how a team goes in with their practices. Do they change their practices up? You have some teams who are Georgia was a good example. They were running their practices more as a springboard for next spring into next year. They were running more of a spring style, a camp style practice rather than a game prep practice. Texas was another example. You saw Texas got absolutely manhandled in their bowl game. So that motivational factor, not only is it going to just true player motivation, but even how the coaches prepare. And then you got coaches that are leaving for other jobs. So now you have coordinators that have to kind of pick up the slack and run things. So all of that comes in the play. You have to really do your homework with betting bowl games, and don't jump on a line right away. When I bet college football during the season, I like to get my numbers right away on Sunday and Monday, and especially in the middle of the year, October, November, I want to get my money in as quick as possible before a line moves. Don't worry about chasing a line in a bowl game. If it moves 1 or 2 points, so be it, because if you get the right information, those 1 or 2 points won't matter as much as it will, during a regular season play.
All right. What is your pick right now for the championship with the points, over, under, and any props you've seen that you would take?
Well, if I had to bet right now, I would lay the points with Oregon. I would bet over the total at 73. And a prop that I do like is looking at one of the offshores up here. Total touchdown passes and interceptions by Cardale Jones. I would go over the 2.5, getting plus 140 for every 100. So I could see him throwing a couple of passes. Definitely see him throwing an interception, but he's definitely going to get at least a touchdown or two in this ball game. So that's a prop that I'll probably, in fact, will circle now and look toward for this game. I don't see any other props to jump out right away, but that's a good prop.
Have you seen any props on number of plays Oregon will run?
I haven't seen that. That'd be interesting. That's something that could, there's only a standard set of props up now. There could be more that come about on Monday. And that would be a really interesting prop to see. I would like to see something like that. I would guess that number would open up around somewhere in the high 80s, low 90s.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little lower, but that's kind of where they've been running at the whole year, around 90-something plays a game. So, and that's a prop, something possibly to pass along to some of the guys who set these numbers out in Vegas and other parts of the world, to look, maybe setting something up like that.
Yeah, they need to set something up like that, because their offense just gives me a headache, especially when they're beating my childhood hero, Jameis Winston, in the semifinal. But yeah, it's so quick. It's boom, 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 and they're scoring. And
what was really sad about, like you said, that semifinal game is that the dream matchup that I think everyone wanted to see. I know I really wanted to see it last year, was Oregon against Florida State, with last year's Florida State team. They were so much more dynamic offensively. It had Kelvin Benjamin. Winston was playing better. He had a better O-line in front of him. Their defense played a lot faster. I think that was the game that everyone was expecting to see this year, but Florida State just clearly wasn't as good this year as their title team the year before. But that's really what would have been the fun matchup for everybody to see. So I think we all got let down a little bit by seeing Florida State just pretty much give up after the second half of that game.
Yeah, well, when Jameis Winston's teammates decide to intentionally throw a game for him, it's really devastating. When they're intentionally fumbling the ball to make Jameis Winston look bad, it's really upsetting to me as a fan.
I mean, it's. I don't know if I would say that was the case. I think they more so just mentally quit. I don't think there was any kind of intentional tomfoolery.
Yeah, I was messing around. Yeah, it was just a bitter fan. But we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back here with Alex Smith. Talk some NFL playoffs, talk some betting, and we'll be right back here on the Bob Sullivan Show.
Something shines in your eyes. It's a I do it fine without you. It's good. You took the color from my eyes and just let it go. When I look in my life, tells me that I will learn to grow. I'm taking bets on what happens next for us, and one day you will find that I'm doing fine without you. It's a good life. It's a good life. It's a good life. Running around trying to find what's left of me. Running around trying to find what's left of me. I'm doing just fine here, though I am broken still. I'll find a way to climb up out of the snow. I'm taking bets on what happens next for us, and one day you will find that I'm doing fine without you.